remarkable player, a remarkable talent with remarkable support. She's into the quarterfinals here, only her second at 1,000 level.
Bravo. 15 love.
Oh, that is super work at the net from Cirstea. That was awkward. Not an easy shot, that. Oh, wow. That is a beauty from Cirstea.
Safety love.
Oh, and that is an absolute beauty. Eala has done it. And the crowd, I think, have just realised. This time off the backhand to gift Eala the first point.
Safety all.
That is super work from Eala. Oh, found the line with the forehand, and then the winner, more comfortable. Oh, but Eala with another belter off the backhand. A little lucky, a little flick off the net cord. But now she's getting a little run going. And Eala does it again. It's another test that she's passed. It was tough against Jasmine Paolini last night, and we knew Sorana Cirstea would make it tough tonight. But she is a...
Ladies and gentlemen, you need to halt what you are doing and pay attention, because the footage you are viewing on your screen right now is the single most essential piece of tennis media that has emerged this year. I am not saying that for views, and I am not saying that for publicity. I am saying that because we are witnessing a malfunction in the matrix. We are witnessing a hostile takeover of the WTA hierarchy, and the mainstream sports networks are too occupied staring at the scoreboards to see the revolution happening in the stands. This is the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships. And what transpired here between Alexander Eala and SRA is not just a match result. It is a geopolitical event in the world of athletics. Listen to me attentively, because to comprehend the gravity of this moment, you have to peel back the layers of professional tennis. This is a sport that is founded on tradition. It is based on solitude. It is predicated on hierarchy. The veterans remain at the top, the rookies pay their dues, and the audience politely claps when the point is over. But in Dubai, that entire script was carried outside and set on fire. Look at the atmosphere. I want you to really look at the humidity in the air. I want you to gaze at the tension on the features of the coaches. And most significantly, I want you to listen to the din. That is the sound of the status quo disintegrating. Sonic Cirstea strode onto this court as the gatekeeper. She is the veteran. She is the stationary performer. She is the one with the millions of dollars in prize money and the decade of experience on the tour. She represents the establishment. She is the wall that young players are intended to crash into and fail. But then you have Alexandra Eala, the 20-year-old Filipino prodigy who didn't get the message that she was supposed to lose. And before we even talk about the forehands and the backhands, we have to speak about the venue because context is everything. Dubai is not a typical tournament. The courts in Dubai play swiftly. The desert air makes the ball move through the court with less resistance, which means the game is speedier. The reactions have to be crisper and the margin for error is razor narrow. Usually this favors the veteran because they know how to regulate the cadence. They know how to manage the conditions. But Eala came out and transformed this tennis court into a gladiator arena. Let's speak about the throng because this is the X factor that nobody in the Cirstea camp prepared for. The Philippines is a nation that does not just support its athletes, it propels them. We have seen this phenomenon in boxing with Manny Pacquiao. We have seen it in weightlifting. And now we are seeing the full force of Filipino nationalism descending on the WTA Tour. Look at the flags in the stands. There are hundreds of them. The decibel level during this match was decib higher than a standard Grand Slam final. And you have to comprehend the psychology of a tennis player to comprehend why this matters. Tennis is a lonely discipline. It is just you and your thoughts inside a rectangle for 2 hours. When the audience is against you, it feels like the walls are closing in. And Cirstea felt it. Watch the clip at the 2-minute mark where she is walking towards the umpire. Look at her irises. That is not the appearance of a focused athlete. That is the expression of someone who is being pursued. She is complaining about the disturbance. She is fretting about the environment. And let me tell you a secret about professional athletics. The second you start complaining to the referee about the spectators, you have already lost the mental battle. Your focus has transferred from the ball to the noise. And that is a fatal miscalculation. Aya, on the other hand, used that energy like rocket propellant. She didn't retreat from the instant she expanded into it. And this brings us to the technical breakdown because emotion is amazing, but you still have to hit the yellow ball over the net. Let's go deep into the intricacies of Alexandra Eala's game because she is doing things that we haven't seen from a juvenile player in a very long time. First of all, she is left-handed and I cannot underscore this enough. Being a lefty in tennis is a cheat code. It entirely reverses the geometry of the court. When Eala strikes her cross-court forehand, it is traveling into Cirstea's backhand, which is typically the weaker side for most players. But it's not just the direction, it's the motion. Eala trains at the Rafa Nadal Academy, and you can see the DNA of the King of Clay in her stroke path. She generates this massive top spin that makes the ball rise up off the court. So, Cirstea isn't impacting the ball at waist height. She is striking the ball at shoulder height. And striking a backhand at shoulder height for 2 hours is physically exhausting. It diminishes your calves. It diminishes your core and eventually your technique breaks down. And that is exactly what we saw happen in the second set. CIA began leaving spheres short. She began missing routine injections. And it wasn't because she forgot how to play tennis. It was because she was being physically tormented by the heavy spin emanating off Eala's racket. Let's chat about the movement. Watch the footwork of Eala in the slow-motion replays. She is ascending. She is never stationary. She is continuously taking these little micro steps to adjust her position so that she is always precisely balanced when she strikes the ball. This is elite-level athleticism. Compare that to Cirstea, who appeared heavy, who looked stuck in the mud at moments. And that is the difference between the ambition of a 20-year-old and the comfort of a veteran. Eala was willing to suffer more. She was willing to run that extra meter to get that extra ball back. And in a match that is decided by 2 or 3 points. That willingness to suffer is the difference between winning and losing. Now, let's go down the rabbit hole of the ranking implications because this is where the story gets really fascinating. The WTA Tour is presently in a state of transition. We have the top 3 competitors dominating, but the middle of the field is soft. There is an opening for a new superstar to emerge and claim that position in the top 10. ELO winning this match and reaching the quarterfinals of a WTA 1000 event is not just a good result. It is a signal flare. It tells the sponsors like Nike and Adidas and Wilson that there is a new market opening up. The Asian market is enormous for tennis, but the Southeast Asian market, specifically the Philippines, is a sleeping behemoth. If Eala breaks into the top 20, she becomes one of the most marketable athletes on the planet instantaneously. And do not believe for a second that the other athletes in the locker room don't know this. They are observing. They are seeing the audience support. They are seeing the media attention. And that places a target on Eala's back. From this moment forward, she is no longer the underdog. She is the menace. And that alters the dynamic of every match she plays. She has to learn to play with the weight of expectation, which is a weighty burden to bear. Look at what occurred to Emma Raducanu after the US Open. The pressure can overwhelm you if you are not equipped for it. But Eala seems different. She seems anchored. She seems to have a team around her that keeps her focused on the procedure rather than the outcome. And that mental maturity is rare at 20 years old. Let's go return to the match footage, particularly the tiebreak in the second set. The tiebreak is the ultimate pressure cooker. It is abrupt mortality. One error and you are going home. Usually in these situations, the rookie crumbles and the veteran remains calm. But we saw the exact opposite here. Cirstea was the one double faulting. Cirstea was the one spraying errors while Eala was striking targets. Look at the serve out wide on match point. She didn't go for a secure serve. She went for the line. She went for the victor. That is the mindset of a champion. That is the Mamba mentality, if you want to call it that. The refusal to contend, not to lose. And the fortitude to play to win. And when that final ball went wide and the stadium erupted, I want you to really listen to the commotion. It wasn't just applause. It was a release of tension. It was thousands of people who had been holding their breath for 2 hours finally letting it out. That emotional connection between a player and the spectators is the most powerful drug in athletics. It is what makes people buy tickets. It is what makes individuals wake up at 3 a.m. to view a stream on their phone. Eala has that connection. She has that charisma. Look at her post-match interview. Look at how she engages with the camera. She is a celebrity in the making. And the WTA requires champions. They need characteristics. They need rivalries. And this match gave us all of that. Now, let's conjecture for a minute about what this means for Cirstea. Losing to a competitor ranked outside the top 50 when you are seeded is a blow to the psyche. It compels you to gaze in the mirror and ask if you still have what it takes. Cirstea is a combatant. She has come back from injuries. She has come back from slumps, but the game is growing faster and the females are getting younger. Can she adapt? Can she find a means to neutralize the power and the speed of this new generation? That remains to be seen. But for Eala, the ceiling is the limit. If she can replicate this level of play on clay courts, which should theoretically suit her game even better with a heavier top spin, then we are looking at a deep run at Roland Garros in the future. We are looking at a player who could legitimately challenge for Grand Slam titles within the next 3 years. I know that sounds like hyperbole. I know the remarks section is going to say, calm down. It's just one match. But you have to look at the tendencies. You have to look at the trajectory. Players who have this specific combination of technical excellence, physical durability, and mental fortitude do not come around very often. She is verifying every single option. And the fact that she is doing it while carrying the flag of a nation that is starving for sporting triumph adds a dimension of narrative depth that you just cannot script. Netflix could not construct a better storyline than this. The underdog from the islands traveling to the desert to take down the European giant. It is emblematic. It is everlasting and it is genuine. Let's also speak about the coaching because you don't defeat a top 30 player by accident. Eala's team evidently did their homework. They knew Cirstea struggles when she is moved out wide to the forehand side on the run. They knew she struggles with high balls and Eala executed that game plan with military precision. She wasn't just striking and praying, she was constructing points. She was preparing traps. She would smash 2 balls cross-court to open up the line and then release the trigger. That is tennis IQ. That is comprehending the geometry of the court, and that is something that usually takes years to develop. The fact that she has it at 20 is terrifying for the duration of the tour. I want to take a moment to address the haters because every time a new athlete rises, there are people who say it was a fluke or the opponent played poorly. Look at the data. Cirstea didn't perform an awful match. She reached wins. She served respectable percentages. She was defeated by a superior player on the day. Eala landed more winners. She had fewer unforced errors in the critical moments. And she won the major points. Tennis is a game of huge points. You can win more points in total and still lose the match if you don't win the ones that matter. And Eala won the ones that mattered. She saved break points. She converted match points. She stood erect when the lights were brightest. And that is the definition of clutch. So where do we go from here? What is next for the Dubai sensation? Well, the quarterfinals are going to be another test. The opponents get stiffer. The reconnaissance report is out now. Everyone knows how she performs. She won't catch anyone by surprise anymore. But based on what we saw in this match, I don't believe she needs the element of surprise. I believe she has the raw talent to beat people even when they know precisely what is coming. Just like Nadal, just like Serena, just like Federer, excellence is doing the thing everyone knows you are going to do and them still not being able to halt it. We are witnessing the early phases of a career that could be legendary. And years from now, when she is hoisting trophies at the majors, we will gaze back at this video. We will look back at this match in the Dubai desert as the moment where it all connected. The moment where the potential became kinetic. So I need you to do me a favor. I need you to share this video with every tennis fan you know. I need you to tag your colleagues because they need to see this. They need to realize that the landscape of the WTA has changed. The guard has not just altered, it has been attacked. Alexandra Eala is spearheading the charge, and if you are not paying attention, you are missing history. Leave a comment below and tell me if you believe she can reach the top 10 this year. Tell me if you believe she has what it takes to win a slam. I read every single comment and I want to know what the community thinks. This is a channel for the genuine fans, the deep divers, the people who want the truth. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for being part of this movement. And remember to keep your eyes vigilant because the game is faster than ever and the next revolution is always just one swing.